So we got a built-in winter coat around our belly and love handles, and we'd like to lose it, but we already know that a calorie deficit works, but we want to optimize our results to get them faster and make sure that we're actually losing fat and not muscle. And if we focus on these 4 things that I'm about to tell you in this video, it will make that much easier for you. You'll lose more fat, you'll be able to build muscle while you cut, and it'll actually allow you to recomp along the way. So let's get into it. First thing we're going to talk about is optimal meal frequency. Now, there is a big crowd of intermittent fasters, and we will talk about that a little bit later, but the number one thing that you don't want to do here is reduce all of your calories to one meal. Imagine having all of your calories and all of the food you're going to eat for the entire day in your stomach all at the same time. It's not going to feel good. Yes, you will be full, but for the rest of the day, you're going to be absolutely starving. It's not going to be enjoyable, and you're not even going to get the best results. So that's why we eat more than one meal per day. Now, on the complete other side of this is having 6+ meals per day. Now, this is like some legit competitive bodybuilder stuff. We do not want to get into this territory as on a severe cut like we want to do, where we want to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. This is going to spread our meals out way too thin. We're going to be having, 200 to 300 calories for some of you guys in a meal. That's nothing. That's like a protein bar and 3/4 of a banana. Maybe for some protein bars, it's just one protein bar. For a full meal, that is not what you want to be eating. It's going to spread your calories out way too thinly, and you're never actually going to be full throughout the day. You're always going to be in a state of constant hunger. And later on, that's going to lead you to binge, because if you're never actually full, your body is going to start craving that feeling like crazy. So this leads us to the optimal meal number here, which is about 3 to 5 meals. This is optimal because it allows us to have evenly spaced meals throughout the day that allows us to stay in a state where we're not super catabolic, where we're not having our body absolutely freaking out, where we're not eating for hours and hours and hours on end. This allows us to stay in a state where we're partially full for part of the day. Other days we dip into a little bit of hunger, and that is a completely healthy state to be in. So 3 to 5 meals spread evenly throughout the day is really going to be your best bet. The second thing we're going to focus on is actually the difference in meal sizes throughout the day. So for me, what I specifically like to do is I increase my meal sizes throughout the day. So I have a small to medium breakfast, I have a medium lunch, and I have a large dinner. The only exception to this is the pre-workout meal. We'll talk a little bit about what that will look like in a few minutes, but just know right now, pre-workout meals are a little bit smaller and they're going to have more carbs than some of the other meals that we eat. So if you're going to implement this into your life, just remember, increase your sizing in the meals throughout the day. That's because in the morning, we're typically not crazy hungry, but throughout the day, as the day goes on, when do we typically fail to diet? It's at night. So if we bank a lot of our calories and have that for dinner and dessert, then that is going to allow us to be very full at night and avoid the feeling and wanting to binge. Number 3 is going to be how to distribute the macronutrients for every single meal that you eat. Now, the fats should be high in meals to where you're going to have a large break in time between the next meal. So if you're eating lunch at noon and your dinner's at 6 p.m., well, you should probably have a decent amount of fats in your lunch. This is because the fats will slow down the digestion of all the foods that you're eating. Obviously, keeping food in your stomach for longer will make you feel more full, and you'll avoid a large spike in hunger in between your meals if your digestion is slowed due to the fats. Protein should certainly be distributed across all meals throughout the day. There is no real clear advantage to having a ton of protein in one meal and having none in the other. Having a steady intake of protein throughout the day is going to allow you to keep your amino acids topped up and will help prevent muscle wasting on your cut. And lastly, for carbs, this is where the biggest variance comes in for every single meal. And even depending on the day that you're on, whether you're training or not, will depend on the amount of carbs that you're going to eat. On training days, we want to have a little bit more carbs to account for our glycogen stores, which is intramuscular carbohydrates being depleted when we train. And on non-training days, we will not need those extra carbs. Since we'll be in a calorie deficit, we probably won't have too many carbs to play with. So this means that we're going to want to put a lot of our carbs around our workout, meaning in our pre-workout and post-workout meal should be the most carbs you'll eat for the entire day. I said I'd speak about it earlier, and here we are. So here's my opinion on fasting. What I do is I fast until I'm hungry. I don't fast all day. I never skip breakfast. That is because I want to keep an influx of nutrients nutrients, especially protein, coming into the body. And if I fast until I'm hungry, it's a perfect middle point between fasting all day, which is not necessarily optimal, and eating as soon as I wake up when I'm not even hungry. So to do this, just delay your first meal until a genuine hunger arises, and you'll be in a pretty good spot there. And in that first meal of the day, which is going to be breakfast, we're going to consume a balanced meal consisting of protein, fats, and carbs. Side note, if you do have an issue with brain fog, then I would consider cutting out carbs in that first meal. I'll make another video on this at some point, but just something to consider. For the second meal, this will depend on the day of whether how hungry you are. Some days you'll be a little bit hungrier, some days you won't be as hungry. We'll have a small snack consisting primarily of protein between our breakfast and lunch, which just allows us to not be absolutely starving going into lunch. Just a general rule of thumb, within your cut, it is perfectly normal and healthy to be hungry in between meals, but we never want to be absolutely starving. Now for the second major meal of the day, which is going to be lunch, we're going to consume another balanced meal consisting of protein, carbs, and fats. If you're not going to be eating again until dinner, I would add a little bit more fats here just to help you stay fuller for longer. I work out right after I get off of work, so I have a pre-workout snack consisting of primarily carbs and protein about 60 to 120 minutes before my workout. This also serves as my afternoon snack, so it works out perfectly. Then for dinner, I have my largest meal of the day, which is going to be consisting of protein, carbs, and fats. Emphasis on the protein and the carbs, but we will have some fats in this meal as well. Having my largest meal of the day be the last meal I eat does help me stay full into the night, because I know personally I do have an issue with being hungry at night and then snacking and then throwing off my whole cut. This puts everything I've talked about in this video into one spot for you, so feel free to screenshot. Okay, so just to recap on everything I've talked about so far, the first thing we'll focus on is meal frequency, eating about 3 to 5 meals every single day. Then meal size, which will increase our meal size gradually throughout the day, with the exception to that being our pre-workout meal. Then we have to focus on distributing our macronutrients correctly, which will have protein evenly throughout the day. Fats will be high if there's a long gap in between the next meal, and carbs will be primarily focused around our workout. Then for meal timing, we'll fast until we're hungry, have breakfast, maybe have a snack in between then and lunch, have lunch, have a pre-workout meal, and then have dinner and dessert. I was able to lose 110 pounds, and now I coach clients to do the exact same thing. A lot of the guys that I work with have been consistent with their workouts in the past at some point, and then fell off the wagon, and then were certainly never really locked in on their nutrition like they should be. So if that sounds like you and you'd like to take the guesswork out of everything and get results that are better and faster than what you can get on your own, then hit me up on Instagram and we can talk about personalized one-on-one coaching.